The fantasy news must undulate. Welcome everybody to another episode of Fantasy News. I am your disheveled goblin host wearing a hat just because I know it's gonna get some people to comment about how different I look in a hat, and that's good for the algorithm, Daniel Green. And today, we're going to talk about some interesting Sanderson news up front, as well as some Warhammer 40k developments. But first, I'd like to tell you that next week, I am finally dropping the Lord of the Rings breakdown, a video I've been working on for quite some time. I even hired an outside editor who I am so happy with. So if you wouldn't mind tuning on in for that next week, I would certainly appreciate it. It's part of that whole new channel mantra of like, we're putting out higher effort content here, so we'll see how that goes over. But for now, let's jump into the news. And you know we're gonna be going ahead and kicking it on off with the Sanderson news that we've gotten some new Mistborn covers, and I quite like these. I have kind of enjoyed most Mistborn covers that I've seen, and right when those all white ones got a bit stale for me, they come out with this pop of orange, and I think that's pretty rad. Though this is the official, like, it's done, it's over, rest in peace title, The Final Empire, you're dead. The first book now is Mistborn, it seems. I do genuinely like the title, The Final Empire, but yeah, from a marketing standpoint, I understand it just doesn't work for a book one, and I think Mistborn works better for the title of book one of Mistborn Era 1. So I'm okay with it. I just miss The Final Empire. Between these three though, I can't decide which is my favorite. I like the first one for that red color that's prevalent throughout, but I like the second one because of the giant sword swing down. Good damn! But now let's move into the second brick of important Sanderson news for the week, and that is going to be that we have an official title for Stormlight Archive Book 5, except it's been added with the asterisk in the State of Sanderson update that it could possibly be changed, so this is for now the title, and it is... Wait, let's make this appropriately epic. I'm ready, I'm getting voice ready. All right, let's go. Knights of Wind and Truth. I'm lukewarm on it. It's not my favorite Stormlight title, but I also understand how difficult it can be to come up with titles for a book, and I think for a book 5, it's fine. And we also got this update about Stormlight 5's possible publication date. But in my favorite news to cover, in cover reveal news, we got Abeni's Song from Mr. Clark, a middle grade enchanting fantasy adventure that will be released in 7/25/23. Or, for those of you who actually abide by a date system that makes sense, 25/7/23. Why in the hell do we put month first? That bothers me so much. And at first I saw this cover and kind of went, nah, but then I realized it's for middle graders. And it made me stop and do like an hour of research I didn't actually have the time to do about marketing and covers and what works for what genre and age group, and I know a bunch of things now that will never be relevant to me, but good cover, Tor, and I'm going to give you this praise because I disagree with the decision they have made in regards to the ongoing Fractalverse controversy. For those of you who don't know, the second book in Christopher Paolini's Fractalverse had its cover reveal, and unfortunately it seems Fractal Noise's cover was made with AI. And if you'll remember in the episode of Fantasy News where I covered this release, I kinda pushed to see like, hey, who's the cover artist here? And I did a little digging, wasn't able to find any online profile. But moving on to the actual topic here, after it has come out that yes, this was made by AI, Tor released this statement. Tor Books designed the cover for Fractal Noise by Christopher Paolini. During the process of creating this cover, we licensed an image from a reputable stock house. We were not aware that the image may have been generated by AI. Our in-house designer used the licensed image to create the cover, which was presented to Christopher for approval. Due to production constraints, we have decided to move ahead with our current cover. Tor Publishing Group has championed creators in the sci-fi fantasy community since our founding, and will continue to do so. The only thing I like from the statement is that they had the wherewithal to be like, this is not Christopher Paolini's fault, because it's absolutely not. Authors do not get to create their covers when they have publishers like this. This in no way, shape, or form is a reflection of the author themselves. It is a reflection of the publishing house. I am not hardline anti-AI artwork or pro-AI artwork. I think in the future it will have its place. It's definitely going to need some constraints, but even if you are just pro use AI artwork for anything, it's a little weird to be like, we don't want this to be our practice. We think it's wrong. but it would cost too much not to do it now. And for Tor to be like, we just don't have the resources. They're owned by one of the big five. This is not something that would break the bank to fix.
There's no accountability anymore.
But hey, business is gonna business. I'm definitely gonna keep buying Tor books. I'm not gonna try and like grandstand here or anything. I don't think this is the worst thing ever. I just think it's a wrong call, and it's as simple as that. And in a gargantuan last-minute fantasy news update, it seems we are getting a new Avatar series from the original creators at their new Avatar studio. This will be following an Earth Avatar based Nation 1. You know what I mean. This will be taking place after the events of Legend of Korra and released on Paramount Plus. Darn it. And it'll be coming in 2025. Whoa! I knew it was gonna happen as soon as their studio got made, but it's just cool to see finally be announced. Congratulations to all the big Avatar fans out there. But before we talk about this big old Warhammer development, a word from today's sponsor. It is no secret that I love fantasy, sci-fi, space, and all things well lit. So it should probably come as no surprise to you that I deeply enjoy today's sponsor, Galaxy Lamps. Funnily enough, this is not part of a script they sent me, this is true. I bought a knockoff of the Galaxy projector on Amazon just a few weeks before they offered to sponsor me, and I definitely should have just gone with the Galaxy projector. Galaxy lamps and projectors use high-resolution NASA satellite imagery, as well as 360-degree rotating projection to give you the best galactic experience. And they have a smart app that lets you control the brightness, rotation speeds, set timers and schedules, and pick your favorite colors. You can also just kind of have it rotate through the colors, and I quite like that because it allows you to just go, no, I'm rainbow.
You can look evil too.
They also don't emit any heat, so there's no risk of it warping or damaging furniture if you'd like to tuck it in a little nook to have it project all over your bookshelves. They are made from 100% eco-friendly, chemical-free material, and best of all, Galaxy Lamps has a 30-day warranty. So click the link in the description down below and use code DanielGreen to get 15% off your purchase. It has been reported that Henry Cavill is set to star and executive produce a Warhammer 40k film and TV franchise as Amazon Studios acquires rights to Games Workshop brand. There is so much to unpack there. Yes, the last episode of Fantasy News was put out right before this broke, so I'm a bit late to the table here. Sorry. One thing I will note though, all of this happened so fast. The narrative you're seeing painted online that, oh, right when DC cut Henry Cavill, all this just came together. No way, in my opinion, that timeline could make sense, because deals like this take quite a long time to nail down payments, dot all the T's and I's, make sure you know who exactly is going to do what. This isn't necessarily something that could have been like, oh, he got cut from Superman yesterday is when the news broke. Okay, today we're going to do this entire Warhammer 40k deal. Though I will say, because Rahul here actually put out that tweet before it was publicly announced, he deserves to be in the Warhammer 40k adaptation. For quite some time, Henry Cavill himself is known to be quite active in the Warhammer 40k universe, both in the miniatures side of things and in the books. He is a fan of the Black Library. And I like almost all of the news here, except for the fact that it's attached to Amazon. I just got done ranting about why I think in general that's a bad idea, but with Henry Cavill attached and hopefully a lot of fan support and the willingness from the studio to invest a ton of resources to bring it up to par, this could be the Warhammer adaptation that everyone has been looking forward to. And with the diversity of stories within the Warhammer world, it makes sense that this deal includes both films and miniseries. I just wonder what they're going to choose as someone who's about to start the second book of the Horn trilogy. And I hope it's that, because that's been good. But from there, we're going to go ahead and talk about the announcement from Oda himself. Excuse me, Goda. Because the statement from the creator of One Piece said, hello everyone who attended Jump Fest and everyone watching the show at home. This is Aricho Oda, the world's greatest diva, or something like that. This year, the Wano arc came to an end. The main story started picking up, the One Piece film Red movie became a big hit, so it's been a really crazy year overall. All the staff always screams of happiness. Uda-chan will also appear in the Red and White song battle. We hope you enjoy her TV tour since it'll only be available a limited period of time. The card game has also been a huge hit. The other day I asked my staff off if we could get some cards, but they told me we can't get a hold of them. Can you believe that? It's been 25 years since the serialization started, and it's been such a long story, but I'm also really glad that recently more and more young readers pick up this work. I was really excited when the final arc of the series started and encouraged people to get excited about it, but I have no plans to wrap up the series anytime soon. So you can relax and read it with ease. Next year, the video game we have been working on for 6 years, One Piece Odyssey, will be released. We are also preparing different stage events, and the Hollywood live action is also in production. We're currently going through the rough drafts for season 1. It's been a lot of work behind the scenes, but I was the most worried one during the process. But it's really great! And next year in the original manga series, a clash between that person and that person will take place. That is where the story is heading if I had to name it some way. It'd be like a great battle royale. I hope no one dies. Please look forward to One Piece next year. Now, the most exciting thing there for me was a One Piece video game is something I recently kind of joked about on Twitter. Even though I cover the news here, sometimes things slip under my radar. I didn't know a One Piece game was actually being worked on. Cut to a clip of me probably covering it and I just forgot. But I'm really excited to get that confirmation that apparently it will be released next year, and Oda being like, it's not going to end anytime soon. I should have seen that coming. I was one of those people who was like, oh, the final arc, it'll be done in a couple of years. No, you people were probably right. I'm gonna die before One Piece ends. But we have one last piece of big old sci-fi news, and that is that apparently James Cameron is considering rebooting the Terminator franchise. Quote, nothing has been decided, but I would make it much more about the AI side of it than bad robots gone crazy. He apparently said this on the Smart List podcast, and it did kind of make me have that immediate modern Hollywood reaction of just like, don't reboot series I love. But Terminator hasn't really been James Cameron's baby since it was good, and if he has an ambitious vision to come in and do something that is just using the label Terminator to garner attention but is very different, I could get into that. We have a more in-depth and nuanced view of the potential threats and dangers of AI, look at previous stories covered in this video, and the idea of just entirely rebooting the Terminator franchise without having to deal with the baggage of the bad robot side of it that we've seen so beaten to death with the ongoing films. Hashtag Sarah Connor Chronicles was actually still pretty good though. It would be interesting to see someone take the just loose premise that Terminator could be now considered, if you totally rebooted it, of our technology turning against us, and pushed it just to a more accurate view of what we know now versus kind of the ludicrous fears we had all the way back in the 80s. All of that just to really say, I guess I prefer this path to Terminator than what's been currently happening with the franchise for the last 10 years, because that's not been working out. How do you feel about the Terminator franchise, one of the flagship film franchises for the sci-fi genre, being rebooted now that it's kind of descended in the really schlocky and not very good territory for several years? But this has just been your latest episode of Fantasy News. Like and subscribe if you have not already, and you've been looking at one piece of merch from the new line that'll be dropping in the new year and you didn't even know it.